we're travelling, it takes us about 90 seconds to get to the second level. The men in the cage take the same time to go to the bottom. This is just an industrial lift. You see these on building sites all over the city, going up and outside the buildings. Welcome underground. Just come out. The timbers you see here are part of the early safety features. Now that obviously isn't going to hold up the millions of tonnes of rock in here, but the way it works, you wedge timber hard up against the roof. Any pressure on the ceiling above here, this will start to creak and groan. Warns the miners it's getting dangerous, they say it's talking to them. But the main sign of danger in the mine on this tour, if you see me running towards the lift, you keep up with it. Okay. When we're blasting here, we still blast here fairly regularly. We use plastic explosive with non-electric detonators. One of those is put at the back of the hole. Okay? Each of these has a timer on them. This one's got a 6 half-second delay, but of course in the modern mines, most of them have got a little computer chip on them, so it's all regulated much. Don't have to think so much. Put that in the back of the hole. The bulk of the hole is filled up with ammonium nitrate, which has about 6% diesel fuel added to it. Think of barley bombing. Okay, so it's just fertiliser mixed with diesel. That's pumped in with this machine here. You put that the fertiliser mix in there. It's connected with compressed air. Simply push the trigger, and the machine fills up with the thing. When you've got the whole face loaded, it looks a bit like a giant spaghetti cake. You simply tie these fuses in a big knot, and in the knot you put an electric detonator. Run the cable back a safe distance. You hook the 2 bare wires up to the firer, the plunger type, or in our case we have a little crank on the handle. When you've generated enough electricity, light comes on, hit the button, boom, the explosions start in there and the rock comes down. Now, this won't hurt a bit, I don't think. Now, the first shot goes off there, next one there, and there. There it comes. How long does it take to knock over? That long. Okay? And at the end of that, you'd have about 20 tonne of rock in a neat pile here. Fairly neat pile. This is the burn cutting that throws the rock out literally in a fairly neat pile. Okay? This one over here, however, we won't bother with him, but he throws the rock out violently all over the place. That's for working in different conditions, but you can see it's a different pattern to this one. This is the stroker. It's a compressed air rock drill. Works real well, but it's on a machine bar, so you've got every time you want to shift the thing, you either lift up and down or raise and lower the thing. It's got a major problem with it. When it's working, it generates an enormous amount of dust. They then, and some Americans, actually discovered if you inject water into the drill, no more dust. So there's a hollow drill steel up there, water going there. I could work that, I think, if I only had a quick look. Which one? This one. See what happens here. Okay, a bit of water. And it's just a matter of hitting this one, see what happens. And that's enough of that nonsense. But still the same problems. You've got to raise and lower everything. Yeah. But this fella came along just towards the end of the mining era here. This is an air leg rock drill, and they still use these in the mines today. The way it works, the leg is a bit like a giant bicycle pump. Air's injected into there, it lifts the thing up and drives the drill into the rock. In the middle of the anticline. Okay, you can actually see it here quite clearly. Quartz is coming up and across and back there. Okay, it's a laminated reef at the top. Okay, so you've got bands of sandstone and quartz. That's the first stuff that's come in. Then you can see this spur, which is later a bit.
Some gold here in this reef just here.
Here in the bottom later, it's only about 4 ounces per tonne. 120 grams, you can make money in a mine like this about 12 to 15 grams. The old bloke missed this grip.
There's the gold and the quartz.
The other thing I should say, with the ladders, reason to run, you don't use the rails on the side, to make 3/4 contact all the time as we go on down.
The quartz reef with veins. Those are moving along the shear fault zone. A large reef.
That one is cut off.
Yeah, there's a complete displacement of this reef here to there. Going out on the ceiling. There's
all the equipment, everything you've seen in the mine has been lowered down in that shaft in bits and reassembled here. Emergency exit over there. From this point would take you, like you're pretty fit, about 6 minutes to get to the top. From the bottom of the mine would take you about an hour. 1.4 kilometres to the deepest mine would have been quite a climb. You can see the shafts lined with red gum all the way from top to bottom. Really important, those boards on the side, you can see the central ones, they're the brakes. On the cages there are 2 grippers, a spring loaded, the cable breaks, the spring pulls the grippers into there, and the cage only falls about that far. Just come around the side. If you've got, you've got an 8 hours life as each way. Come on.